Thank you for waiting, and now I think we're all prepared to go through the last program. So this is talk. The theme will be social issues and the possibilities of film education, and we'll have 1 hour for the panel discussion, and then after that we'll have 25 minutes. You know, open questions with you. And in the panel discussion, I think we have had a few questions on the post-its, and so I'm sorry if we do not have enough time to cover your questions, all the questions. And so today we have all of the presenters have completed their presentations. So I would like to ask two things. So one is so so in your presentation, like I'm sure the time was limited. So is there anything that you wanted to say but you couldn't because of the time limit? That's one question. Second question is, among the presenters, you might have questions for somebody, and if you do, please say so. So those are the two questions for you. And if you don't have anything to add on to your presentation, then we have post-its from several people about how you instruct the instructors. And I think that's about the talent part that we spoke about in our pre-briefing today. So if we can talk about that too. And so we can start from Dohi-san. So can you talk on the two things, the two items that I asked you to talk about this morning? So 10 minutes max. Uh, Oh, by myself for 10 minutes? No, it can be 5 minutes. You don't have to talk for 10 minutes. So the two agendas that was brought up this morning. So, okay. And for the presentation, sorry. So I didn't have enough time to talk about the workshops. I wanted to talk more about the Ministry of Culture project that we're working on. We're working on a traveling workshop that we work for the Ministry Agency of Culture for. And usually we would, invite children to go to the gymnasiums to screen movies. And so that was what we were doing. But then from 2019, we have been able to to before we used to have people come to us to do the workshops. So now with the Agency of Culture, now we can hold the screenings at the gymnasiums. And then once the children watch the film, after that, then we say, okay, this red ball is the protagonist, and let's try and depict an emotion coming from the ball as if it's alive. And then once you start thinking about that, maybe you might think, oh, this is scary. Then you might say, then 5 of the children would start to use their iPad to shoot something. And in 1 hour, we they would say why they were scared of the red ball through this video, this simple video they create. And then if they have to do this inside school, they'll do this inside school. But we try and get them to go out of the school to to do this, and they're not taught anything. They just have to go and do it. And so the red ball is only a red ball when they started, but then the children might say, this ball is playing with me. but then it only looks like the child is playing with the ball, not the ball playing with the child. So that's why they need to be more creative. We have to get the children to think, how can the ball look scary, like it's scared? Like, how can you depict the ball looking scared? Is a human being talking to the ball? So, and maybe the ball has some kind of emotion, maybe? And so we get the children to think about those things to depict a short video. And maybe if there's like 100 children, we can have like 20 groups. And then each group will come up with a 1 minute video with the red ball as the protagonist. And then the staff would then edit everything together, which in the end, it'll look like the red ball came to the school to visit the children, and then in the end, the ball leaves the school. And and then so for the scenes about for the ball leaving the school, our staff would go early in the morning to just take that shot, but we would connect everything together. So anyway, that is the adventure of the red ball, and we had the red balloon. Um, so and we also had a hedgehog and a frog. And then we have and last year we oh, the Roland Violin by director Tarkovsky. That was another exercise, and also Ozu Yasuhiro's Good Morning film. Good Morning. That was also another workshop, and so we all got together in the gymnasium and spent about an hour and a half to watch, to put these exercises together, and everybody laughs. But in the beginning, the gymnasium is, there's like it echoes so much that the children weren't able to hear all the sounds in the film, so it was not such a great environment. But we made a lot of changes so that we put mats on the gymnasium floor so that the voices wouldn't echo, and people can hear all the voices from the movie. And then after that, we said, let's do a workshop. And and then after that, we would have a okay. Then we would say, good morning. This is kind of like a switch. Like we would say, good morning, how are you today? Which seems very not natural. And so we actually get, like, Suasan is the director, and he would assign two people, and he would have the two people say the two lines from different angles. And then the children would then think, oh, this is how a movie is made. So he would show some examples. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, but another is the project is the utilization of cultural facilities. And so we want the children to go out of the schools to go to the cinema. And I can maybe talk about that later. And anything else?
First, for first question, I didn't go really in details about how we conduct the workshop itself, like which kind of exercise we give and how we begin our workshop, especially when we want to work with storytelling. Like sometimes we ask them to go out to come back with five images that they can tell a story with it. Or when we work with the kids about, or the youth, about sound, we tell them, okay, from A till B, tell us what you hear. And here we begin discover that some of them, they don't hear anything. They come and just they look to us like, what I hear, it's like a weird question. So, and from here we begin more and more work with them about image, about sound, and how image related to sound, or how image track like can tell something and the sound can add something. So I didn't make it in the presentation because I think each of us, they have their own way from our experience. For the training, it's like, or how we make the workshops. As I said, we don't have a recipe. So most of the time we experiment, we try. So we train trainers how to at least open dialogue with the kids and others, how to give them the knowledge. But sometimes we feel it doesn't work. Sometimes kids, they want to express in different way. Sometimes kids, they would like to express in a game more than really sitting and listen, or they want to catch the camera and and to go out. But the common things that we felt when for both the trainer and the how they catch them and they will begin them, because we have the pinhole camera. We do the pinhole camera, so we ask them to run away and to bring the can from the rubbish, and we teach them how to turn this can to camera. It's like the pinhole camera. So for them, this is like a magic. And then here the cinema enter and all this magic issue, and So yeah, so there is not like really clear recipe that 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like.
はい、ありがとうございます。じゃあ
Yeah, maybe to add something to the presentation at the same time answering the question about training. I think that all of us, we share a thing that for us is important, that's to think in our own projects. It's not like at the starting point we think something and then we repeat. It's not like that. But we are all the time reviewing what we are doing. And I think that's very important. Almost in Cinema and Course, we say that it's an experimental project and is also a collective project. So the teachers and the filmmakers that join the project, they are an active part of this project. It's not about a day we decide that we will do like this, but we are open to change things. But at the same time, it's true that after 20 years, we have learned a lot of things. So we have to profit this knowledge. So for us, the training, it's very important, but it's not, maybe as Hannah said about the children, it's the same for the adults in our case. It's not about, to transmit close content or receipt, but it's to share a way to do things and to share the ideas that we have and to open also some different points of view. So we train also the teachers and the filmmakers. And for the teachers, the second year of Cinema and Course, we start doing a special training for teachers because they asked us to do it. The second year of Cinema and Course, we start doing a new training for teachers because in dialogue with them, we discovered that for them, for the teachers, it was really important to have the same experience that then they will share with children. So we said, okay, we are doing some creative exercise with children. We will do with teachers. And since then, we start each year like a weekend camp, and we go all together, like 70 people, filmmakers and teachers. We share a house, and we make this kind of training to experiment things. It's not about only knowledge, but to experiment and to share reflections about this experience. And I think it's very important, not only because the transmission, but also because this idea that we are doing a collective project. And so then we have other meetings, like we have a 50 hours per year program of training. And then we have also like meetings with filmmakers, specifically meetings. And each year we give ourselves some goals. Like this year we want to think about, I don't know, what we link film viewing and filmmaking. It's like an open question. So we put ourselves many questions and we share ways to doing that. But it's true also that we have like, it's like a joke. And when some teacher or short filmmaker join the project, like the first time, when someone asks something, for all the questions, we have like an answer. It's like, we have a document where we explain this. And so we have a lot of documents about our methodology, and we give these documents to the team with also with a double intention. It's like you have to read these documents because our approach is written in these documents, but we ask them also to note all the documents during the year, because then we will share these notes and each year we review these documents. And that's one part. And the other part that it's also very important for us, it's visiting the workshops. So like to be close to the reality of the workshops, to analyze the experiences and to talk a lot with students, but really talk, like really ask them what they will change if they can do it and what ideas they have after the workshops. And it's really that we have changed a lot of things of the program because the students, maybe more than because teachers and filmmakers. So I think that that's important, that this like, that is a program that is alive, but at the same time, we share the knowledge that we have. So a little bit about training is.
ありがとうございます。他に、
It's very important and not so easy. How you know, how you know the deep reaction of students after the workshops, but not immediately, but I don't know, two years after the workshop, because it changed a lot. When we meet former students after 2 or 3 or 4 years, their thoughts about the project is really more important than immediately after. And I don't know if you have ways to do that. I don't know.
ありがとうございます。一巡してからその質問に答えていただきます。
Okay, so we'll ask for everyone to answer your question after we pass the mic.
I would like to say key words for Alicia Vega workshop. The first is the experience of Alicia Vega workshop is experience the cinema without camera. The children don't use camera, don't use a complex machine. No, everything is the cheaper things like paper, cardboard, principally papers, pencils, scissors to cut the paper and make different things. In this sense, the second key word is related to the experience of workshop of cinema of Alicia Vega is related to understand the power of the image. In this sense, the first thing is what is the image? How we can understand the power of image. In this sense, the power of drawing is so important to understand how with a few lines we can express so much. In this sense, the drawing is the first language. We can everything we can write the different things, and this is the second thing. The power of the image. How we can understand the image can express different things. And the other things important we can we think that Alicia Vega is an artist. Why? Because everything in his workshop is made with own hands. She made everything. Made the clothes, made the materials, and this everything is the special aesthetic. Here, aesthetic is so particular. In this sense, if you see the everything material of a workshop, workshops Alicia Vega, you understand the own poetic. In this sense, for us, Alicia Vega is artist. And the other thing, the process to learning in the workshop found in different levels. The first level is the more directly is the children, of course. But at the other level is the family children. In the other level, the monitors, like me, because we learn so much to work with Alicia. In the other level, the people can read the informed reports, for example. And this sense, it is important to me to explain you the different levels to learning, connect to the knowledge of Alicia Vega. And the other things, I would like to invite you to search the movie of Ignacio Agüero, because it's a beautiful movie about one workshop. You can understand a little more about her works. Yes.
はい、ありがとうございました。それではですね、先ほど質問が出ました、ラヤさんから質問が出ました件で、生徒さんたちですね、映画教室体験者の人たち
So
の
the participants, the
そ
children,
れからリアクションとかをどのように判断して
their reactions, how do we understand? I think that was your
それ
question.
にちょっと似た質問
And there is
が
actually
ポス
similar
トイットでもあり
question
ま
that
す。
we found in one of the
それはちょっと角度
post-its.
が違うんですが、
It comes from a different angle, but it's
今
similar.
回のこの相談者の方々の、
So
多く
panelists
の
here,
方の方針として言われたのが、
I think you said in
教える
common
というよ
that
りも
it's not
こう見
teaching,
守る
it is not
そ
education,
の
it's more like
ところのスタンスの
watching
大切
them,
さというお
listening to
話があ
them,
りましたけれ
observing
ど
them,
も、
see how they
一方
do.
で、
But on the
受
other
講
hand,
生だった
the
子どもさん
students,
たちが
the,
もっ
the
と向上
children
したい、もっとこういう教
having
師
more
活用すればいいのがうまくなりたい
active
なれるのかという質問が来た時にはどのような対応を
if
して
they
い
come
ま
with
す
a
かってい
question
う
like,
質
how
問
can I
があ
do
るんで
this
すね。
better?
それと
How do you
同じで、
respond to those kind of
生徒さんたち体験者の
request
人たち
for
の、
advice?
状況把握とかニーズ把握とか
So those
ど
are
のよ
two
うにされている
questions
のか
that
と
are
いうのを、
similar,
ま
well,
た
related.
子どもの教師さんの方
So
から
would you like to answer this question?
フィードバックに関しては、
So I think it's about
ま
feedback.
ずはすごく短い期間で
In
言う
short
と、ワーク
periods,
ショップの後に
for
必ず
example, right
み
after
んなの
the
感想文
workshop,
集というのを作ります。
we will collect the
それは
information
感
and
想
keep a
なんですけれ
record
ど
of
も、
their
私
impression
が自分
or
で
their
言葉で
observation.
あと絵で描いてったり
So
して、
they will write or they
どう
will
いうこと
draw
をこの3日
what
間
they
で感じたか
felt
ということ
across
を
the 3 years in the workshop. So that's
あ
how
と
they
は、
report.
親御
And
さんへのアンケート
we
も
also
書いてい
do
ます。
surveys for their
その
parents.
親御さんから見て、
So
子供
from
た
the
ちがどう
parents'
であ
view,
ったかというようなことも、そこには
what
書い
their
てください。
children learned or what they
あと
experienced,
は
we have the
本当にも
parents
っと
to tell us.
やっぱり時間がかかるものだと思っ
But
ているの
it is a
で、
process that takes time because it's education or it's, I mean, not education, but
続けてくる子
so
がいるとか、
students or kids that
続けてく
come
る子はなんで来るん
repeatedly,
だろうとか、
why do they come
で
back?
先ほどちょっとプレゼンテーションの時に、引用した読ませてもらった
In the
このコメントがあり
presentation,
ましたけれど
I quoted some comments of the kids, you remember, and we called them graduated kids. We asked them to share how they think of what the CMC meant to them. So we collected the comments from them. And that's what I shared and introduced earlier. So I don't know profoundly how they think. It is difficult to access that information. But we asked the kids to express in their own words. So that's at least the information that we collect back from them. What was the other one? And if they come for advice, or if they come with questions, what do you do? During the workshops, if they come, I want to do this, but how should I do it? They ask that question. In that case, I would say, if it's more about the techniques, I give them options, different options, and I show them what they can choose from. Rather than telling them the answer, I show them the options. And so if I become a junior high, can I do this? That would be the question. So because we did it for elementary school students, and some will start to say, like, I want to do more, like the courses for junior high. And then I said, no, you have grown up, you learned a lot, you can do it by yourself. But now with the teens course, through CCAJ, we started the course, and then we started to think that there might be a possibility and opportunity for high school students as well. And when they become junior high or high school students, we really don't. We forget, we actually put the rule aside that we don't interact or distract them, because in the first couple of days, if we tell them and they understand that this is your space, this is your platform, they know how they can think and make their own choices. And we can see how they become capable to choose by themselves. So because Swasan earlier introduced that, if he tries to suggest something, they say, no, don't tell us anything. So they have the desire to improve and develop and grow. We always want to respond to their desire, but I don't want to give an answer from an adult. So I would say, okay, for your reference, maybe you want to watch the movie, you might find hints there. That's the kind of response I give.
So in the beginning, so what kind of as for the activities that we have the children, just how we evaluate them, that's a very important point. And I think everybody, I just want to tell everybody, there is no right evaluation method to see whether what we're doing is correct or good. And maybe you might know something now, know something next year, but maybe some things you may not know until 5 years later or 10 years later. And if we have something that we intend to do, maybe then that turns into something that we didn't expect, and in a good or maybe bad way. So there is really no way to measure what we're doing. And so that's why if we can only choose to do what we think is going to be good, and we can only believe in what we do, and we can only tell ourselves this is going to be good. And of course, sometimes there are times when it might have been better to meddle or interfere with what the children are doing, but nobody can make that decision as to whether to meddle or not, to interfere or not. Anyway, that is my view. If I would do something because I believe in it, that's the only thing I can say. And also, technique-wise, I'm sure that there are more needs to learn more techniques, and sometimes I tell them, like if a child is shooting, I might grab the child and I say, go here, and then it looks different, right? And so I just want to help out for them to discover something new. So we just don't leave, we don't leave them alone. If they're encountering a issue, a problem, then we just kind of push their backs and say, this is another way to look at things. So, so that, I guess, maybe is a technique. And so, and also, so technique and expression is always together. You can't separate the two. And films are, always, it's a combination of so many techniques. And, like we don't want to teach them all the techniques. So, but we have to let them know why these techniques are there. I mean, there's really no meaning in telling them why the techniques are there.
ありがとうございます。
No, I think really we kind of sharing the same because it's for us we don't have really like evaluation system, but more like with the discussion. But for example, for us we have like student or participants. It's not participants who become trainers. So that they begin with us and they grow up and and they have the knowledge and they ask us that if they can give for the smaller group some experience they have or part of the workshop, and you feel they are really continue and they appear. And sometimes we invite them for the breakfast and we sit all together around and we eat and we become talking, and some of the kids say, now I understand that I can be a cameraman. So we open their minds that this is a profession that you can have it. It's not like all of us, they want to be lawyers and doctors and engineering. So from this kind of discussion, you feel how they grow up and which ones who's like really they have, I don't want to call it talent, but in a way that they catch it or they like it or they want to continue for this kind of, but it's not like real system like evaluation. So everything coming like by dialogue.
Just to add to the question of the audience and linking with Suba says, we have a document for filmmakers, like with a lot of questions, and one of these points says something like that the best answer is always a good question. So when children or young people ask the filmmaker what I have to do, the best answer is a good question. And maybe this principle helps us to accompany the process. And then about this, there are some sentences of children and young people that appears a lot after the workshop about the filmmakers. And they said almost always, he or she helped us to do our film. She or he never say to us what we have to do, but he helped us. So it means that we are sharing also our knowledge, and we say that if a filmmaker is with the group, is to act, is to be there, to help the students, not to like go alone. That's the sense to have a filmmaker with you. And the other two things that are very important for the children and young people, and they repeat a lot, it's that filmmakers listen us, they say. They really listen us, and we can do the film that we want to do because they listen us. That's a very important point, and it's like touching the first time that you listen the children saying that like an exceptional thing, that adults are listening them. It's like, wow, it's impressive. And the other thing is that they repeat that filmmakers go to the school with a very high expectations. And Etsuko said at the beginning of the day that for a filmmaker to be in there with the students, it's like an important thing. Filmmakers are doing a true film. It's not like an exercise or just a game. It's serious. And I think that for children and young people of these vulnerable surroundings, that like an adult that for them is important, a filmmaker who go to their neighborhood and for whom is important to do this film with them. I think that changed a lot of things because, okay, I am important because these people are saying me, you can do important things. And I think a part of the role of these filmmakers is to say, you can do it. And we go to do a serious thing uh, in the strong sense.
I would like to say something related to methodological process to Alicia Vega workshops. The first thing is Alicia has a program, very stricter program, but each of activity is a play. It's not a necessary a concept. No, it's a play. It's a game. To each play is possibly the objective of this play is possibly the aesthetical experience. This is so important. It's more uh, near. When the children play, not necessarily are living a process with this. Each activity is a play. This is important to understand. Yeah. The other thing is the different kind of play. For example, we have play. Each child do alone, but the other play is necessary to do in group. Yeah? The other things important is each activity is like a ritual too. When you are performing, for example, are living something like a ritual because it's so special context. Yeah? And everything is to possibility the aesthetical experience. And the last one things related to activity is so important to show the result to the family. In the workshop of Cinema, Alicia Vega, we have two moments in the middle and in the last of workshop. In the middle, we celebrate with food and with exhibition the result to the children. We can show a lot of drawing, pictures. It's like an art exhibition. In the when the workshop in the final class of workshop also it's like an art exhibition. In this sense, we put cartel in the neighborhood to invite the different person to show, to understand what the children do or did.
ありがとうございます。全体のディスカッション時間ちょっと残り少なくな
I
っており
think
ます
we're
の
running
で、
out of time for
私の
this
方から最
panel
後一つだ
discussion.
けですね、
I
ちょっとお伺い
just
したい
have
と
one
思い
more
ます。
thing that I want to ask of you.
今回のテーマ、社
So,
会課題と映画教育の可
so
能性。
today,
こ
so
の
we're
テー
supposed to
マ
be
を設定す
talking
るにあたり、
about the
参加者とお話しさせてい
possibilities
ただい
of
た時に、
films
やっ
in
ぱり問
social
題があり
issues.
まして、まあ、日本
So,
でもいろいろ貧困とかいろんな
because
問
we
題がある
have
中
the
で、
issue of poverty, all these social
そ
issues in
の社
Japan.
会課題と映画教育の
And
可能性というのを掲げた時に、
so
目
when we
的が
think
社
of
会課
social
題
issues,
の
like
解決
for
に行くの
example,
か、
are
そ
we
れと
doing
も映
something
画
to
教育、
resolve a
映
social
画で
issue,
のその
or
人
are
のその
we
適性というところに行くのか、どちらかというと
doing
苦
something
手そ
that
の方がやっぱ
turns
り後
out
者で
to
あろうと。
be resolving an issue. Maybe it might be the latter. Maybe there is a societal need that you want to resolve. And Alicia Vega, I think worked on that item, and I think it's a very big topic. But
子供を英語教師の学
so
校にもやっぱ
for
りそ
the
ういう声が出
CMC,
ますよね。
there are some
働きにく
needs
いというような現実
that,
もあります
of
の
course, that
で、
we aren't able
こ
to
のテ
address
ーマに
all of
対
them
し
yet.
て、実
So for
際
this
にそういう
theme,
活動をしている皆さんの
I
中
think
で、
all of
これを
you
し
are
続
doing
けていく時の、
activities, and
工夫
when
というのが違
doing
うかもしれませんけ
so,
れども、いかにスタッフを
um,
キープしていって、こ
how
の
can
活動を
you
続けていくのか、そ
keep
の
your staff to
モ
do
チベー
these
ション、それ
activities?
か
Like,
ら
how
体
can you
制、
motivate
そし
your
て国際的な
staff?
何
And
か連携
what
があ
is
るかどう
and do you
か、
have like
何かそういっ
international like
たことを
cooperation to help you
私た
out?
ちが参考になる
And
ように教え
because
てい
we
ただければ
would
と思う
like
んで
that
す
to be
ね。
a
で、
reference
それで
for
はじゃあ
us.
皆さんにお聞きする
And
前に、もしよろしければパ
so,
ネル同士さんでそういう声が
do you think that
いただけ
maybe
たら、
Doi-san, you can start
はっきり言って
talking
いただけたらいいです。
and just open the conversation, please?
最初にちょろっとしました。そういうオファ
Okay,
ーがあったにも
so
かか
we
わら
did
ず、
have offers
全部
for
答え
to
たいと
do
思って
some
るにもかかわら
activities,
ず
and we
でき
wanted
なかっ
to
た。
address them, but we
一つ
couldn't
明確な理由
address
は
those needs. And the
資金が
reason
なか
why
っ
is
た。
because we didn't
こ
have
こ
enough
を探
funds.
してもそれをやろうとやる
We
ため
weren't
の
able
資
to
金
do
が
that
足りなくて、
financially,
私の方でも
and
ある
I
時点から20年経ってるうち
from
で、
in the
ある時
20
点から
years,
もうボランティアをやめようと思ったんです
I
ね。こ
just
れはもう
thought
サス
I
テナ
should
ブル
just
じゃないか
quit
ら、
being a
ボ
volunteer.
ラン
This
ティア
is
で
not
必要な人がい
sustainable
て、
anymore, because I was a
それみんな
volunteer in the
皆さんも自
beginning,
費で時間を来
and
てくれた
I
りしていたけ
had
ど、
all these
それを
people
続け
come
てき
as
たら、こ
volunteers,
の
but it
活
was
動は
not
もう終
sustainable.
わってしまうだろうと
And
思
so
っ
I
たの
thought
で、
this
ボ
is
ラ
going
ン
to
ティア
end
に回
someday
そう
if
と思
it's
っ
just
て、本当にボランティアでもや
volunteers.
りたかったんですけど、それを
And
やめ
so
て、
anyway, so
で
we
その
quit
時
the
にいろいろ資
volunteer
金を出
method,
してくれる
and
人
we
が
looked for
見つからなかった。
financial ways, but we couldn't find
でもう
any.
一つは、実
And
はその少年
also,
派っていう話が一番最初に来た時に、
when we
なんかすごく
were
甘えてしまったんですね。そ
offered
の
like
誰かやっぱりその普通に家族がい
a
て、
project
その
to
表
work
面
with
的には
these
かもしれないけども、
uh,
そういう問題があまり
children,
ない子たち
and
と3日間やっ
and
て、
like
じゃ
when
あ
we are
問題があ
working
っ
with
て
just
別れてきた。でその子たちは毎
like
日
we
親御
are
さ
were
んの方に
offered
会
a
いに来て、
juvenile division project, and we
いろ
didn't
ん
know
な
what
こ
to
とをお
do, and
話しして返すっていうことをやっている。
but
でその証明
we
館でやっ
do.
てくれないかって言われた時
So
に
when
は、
the juvenile
もう
division
本当
asked
に
us
その
to
証明館で
work
働
with
いている
them,
人がボランティアとして参加して、
they
ぜひ
the
ボラン
people
ティ
in
ア
the
教室を
juvenile
やる
division
方で
they
すね、やりたいっ
wanted
て
to be part
言
of
ってく
the
れたんですね。
CMC to help out
た
the
だやっぱ
kids,
り
and
私の中で、そのじゃ
I
あたった3日間
and it
しか
would be a
関わらない
3-day
で
week
いいのか
workshop,
と
and
か、
I thought
じゃあ
it's
関わ
only 3
3
days
日
that I'm
関
going
わ
to
って
be
いけばい
involved
く
with
ほ
these
ど、
children.
そ
The
こから
more deeply I'm
そ
involved
の
with
子た
these
ち一人一人の
children,
人生というか
um,
に責任を持てるのか
I
とか、
didn't
そ
even
れ
know
を
if I
じゃ
can
あうち
take
のスタッフ
responsibility
に
for
そ
their
れを負わ
lives
せるのか
in
とか、
just
いろいろ
3
考
days.
えてしまって、
And
ある
so,
種
and
また
then
自分の覚
that
悟が
would be
決
a
まった感
burden
じ
to it. I
がしま
just
した。
didn't
な
have
の
the
で
courage to
皆さん
keep
に
going
その辺
forward on the
を、
juvenile
私は
division
自然とそうなっていった
division
から
project.
そう
And
できていると思うんですけれど
so
も、
anyway,
ということ
I
で
would
し
like
た。
to hear from you on what you
はい、
do in
あり
those
がとうござい
areas.
ます。ちょっとお時間的に少なかった
Thank
ですが、
you
皆
very
さん
much.
からですね、
The
アド
time
バ
is
イスのような
approaching,
形でいただ
but
ければと思
if
い
we
ま
can
す。
receive
12分
advices
お
from
願いでき
you
ますでしょうか。
in turn. So Hannah, do you have any comments on this?
Not really, because as I said, maybe because we are working in different situations. So, but how we can keep our team, even the volunteer, because we related a lot on volunteer, because we don't have the capacity really to hire people. It's like, as I said in the beginning, it's like believing of what we are doing and believing of how much giving the knowledge to the next generation. It's important to continue tell their stories and to continue doing stuff. So yeah, so we are in not even stable situation that we have.
完全にボランティアで、なんか
So full
ファンの
volunteering?
もこうないみたいな。
Is it like based on full volunteer, your activities? Is your activity based on full volunteer?
No, not really. Not all the time. It depends. And sometimes the same trainer, when we have fund, they have, like, they have fees. Sometimes we don't have. have, but because they like it, they are there for us. So more of like supporting each other. Sometimes yes, we can have them. Sometimes no. Sometimes, yeah.
very short. In the case of Alicia Vega workshop, never work with voluntary because for Chile, for here it's so important to compromise. In this sense, always pay for assistance, always pay for each person we work with her. This is in the case of Alicia.
We also we paid for the beginning to filmmakers. At the beginning, we could pay a good salary. After we passed 15 years in a very difficult situation, but we paid them, but not the not the salary that's okay. It's not the proportional salary. And now, this year, we had a new public supporting, and you can imagine, we double the salary of the filmmakers because we were too long of the yeah. But about the motivation, I think it's not about money. The motivation, money is because they need to have time. So if you need time, you have to be paid, because if not, a lot of people cannot live without be paid to dedicate one day per week to this workshop. So that's the reason, not the motivation. About the motivation, it's really like a feeling. I don't know how to say, but we have in our team, we have filmmakers that started with us 20 years ago, and they are always motivated, and they are able to start each time in a new way. And for sure, the new ones comes with a very, very, very high motivation. And in the last times, there are a lot of young filmmakers that comes to cinema course because they say that I want to make cinema like this as filmmaker. So I want to be in this group. So they are high motivation. But for sometimes when you go to the workshops or when you talk with filmmakers after the workshops, the sessions, you feel that the desire is reducing. It's it's not so alive after maybe 4 or 5 years. And in this case, for us, it's important to talk about it because it's time, but it's also like a desire to make a film with these people. And it's not a worry to stop 1 year and then you come back. That's perfect. But you need a very special energy to do that. And at the end, I haven't said it in the presentation, but in our workshops, filmmakers goes to the school between 20 and 30 times in a year, so a lot of time. And not only that, but they have the film creation in their minds. It's like a mental space. It's like energy, time, and a mental space. So I think that it's more than motivation. It's really a desire to do that.
はい、どうもありがとうございます。ではちょっと一通り回りましたので、
So we did a round of comments. So we are 2-3 minutes early, but you have a comment? Sure. So the anxiety that I had, you didn't feel or experience any? I mean, if there are refugees or so mixing them with kids of Barcelona, I think that's how you explained your approach. Did it happen really naturally? There was no hiccups or? hiccups like stress or like any conflicts or?
With adult people or between the students?
いや、その大人として。
As from an adult. So the adults didn't have any feel any stress or.
It's very stressing, with, but very, very, very stressing also for us, and not in case of migrant students that are in school. That's fine. That's for sure. You experiment a lot of things that move you. So yeah, but with refugees that that have a family and they are alone in our city. And they are all the time like with the danger to be expulsado, transferred from the center, like, and it means in the street, sleeping in the street. That's really like, and for us. Well, yeah, that's a very long topic because it puts a lot of questions to us as team. And one thing, it's like when you know that one of these guys will pass the night in the street, it's like, well, it's not possible for us to accept that, because for sure there are a lot of guys in this situation, but when you know people, it's like, it's different. And we have, well, like it was a really problem for our staff in Amabaku, a real problem in terms of stress. And at the same time, it's like a little strange because the first time with this group that we have seen the film is the first time that we worked with this kind of migrant young people. And during like 2 or 3 months, we asked a lot ourselves, what are we doing making cinema when these people is in this situation? It's like very strange because it seems like a superfluous, like not essential thing to do cinema. It's essential to have a place to sleep, food to eat, not to make cinema. And it was a real question for us as team. But one day, one of these guys, he was looking the making of photos, and he said to the other guys, he said, can you see? We are happy there. Because they were smiling, you know. And in this moment, it was like a revelation for us. It's like, for sure, it's important to do that, not because it's like essential in terms of supervivencia, in terms of like a life, but in the most basic level, yeah. But it's important for life and for to be alive. I don't know how to say it, but and it was this guy that, thanks to him, we realized why we are doing that, even in this situation. But the stress, for sure, it's like it's very stressing.
You know, just I want to add because of course most of our work like similar situation, because sometimes even it's turned to the therapy and to psychological situation more than just you want to give them the knowledge to tell or to produce or.
Another thing is like I'm thinking on the film, and I think that a very sad thing with these young people is that even if they are really clever, really sensitive, they have a lot of knowledge, different of our knowledge, but a lot of knowledge and culture, even like that, when in these centers they give them some education, some course, it's always like the most basic things, like to manual works, but the most basic manual works. And a lot of these guys are better in other things because they have another kind of cleverness. I don't know how to say. And I think that for them to make a film and to be recognized as filmmakers is also important to say, it's like, it's very difficult in English, but it's to giving them the possibility to be a person, not a migrant, but a person.
ありがとうございます。本当に重要なお話ありがとうございます。
Very valuable input. Thank you for sharing your comment. Now let's take questions from the floor. We'll start the Q&A session. If you have any question, please raise your hand. What can films do? What's the possibility of film? As a person involved in the film work, I was very impressed and inspired. So I have a question. I think it's related to what you earlier said. Critique. I think I heard the word critique, that having that kind of mindset is important, and allowing kids to be able to critique, and how kids discover the value of critiquing. I think it's challenging, it's not easy. How do you support that? How do you help them discover how to critique? And in your activities, can we share activities? Can we help and try to do something? If you have any contact points for us to reach out, please let us know. 3 questions. So the first question, how do you develop critiquing mindsets in children? So Hannah, could you answer that question? And then other question, sharing of activities. Are there opportunities to share activities and support your activities? So critiquing, how do they develop their ability to critique? Hannah, could you answer that question? Do you have a method or a system?
Yeah, first of all, before we say critique, it's you need we work a lot on trust, so that they trust you and they trust that this place is safe, and this is like whatever happened here, stay here. What happened, we said here, it was stay. So when they feel really this, they become more open. They become sharing their. It's take a process. Maybe critique it's the end, but there is a process to reach there. So when they begin sharing their personal thoughts, personal life, personal things, more and more you feel that trust happen, and then we begin throwing like seeds, like this film. If you are this character, how you will tell your own story, how you say it, and a little bit with like that dialogue with them we built. But it's everything. It should be built in the beginning on a trust, and that they can open, and take really a time, because most of the kids, they come with like clothes and with the slogans and with the things that they are like really got it from family heritage, school, etc., etc. Depends from which area, sometimes even from political party, because we have a lot of influence of political party on society. as I said, from TV channels, from mosques, from church, so there is kind of real authority and on our kids from different places. So we become more and more breaking this. We become more and more, and even us as a trainer, that we become open with them and we can begin telling them about us. So yeah, and then we reach the point that they can really read the films in a different way, and especially sometimes when we put films, it's a little bit like outside content of the society, for example, or a little bit how the world happened. And here you can see different kids, how they believe. Some of them, they believe that God say it should be mountain, and there is mountain, and it should be water, and then you throw the science method, and then you become really work with them, that they become more and more open, and they become more and more see things in different way that it should be. Yeah, it's how, but it's take time. It's not from the first, second, third session. It's like really long time.
あと活動の共有。
So you want to share your activities? Can you share your activities?
Hello. The critic is a point of view, of course. If we can see the work, the drawing with the children, we can saw the different points of view. In this sense, if you remember the fragment to the movie Ignacio Agüero in the morning, some drawing, it was about the death, for example. Do you remember the girl? So this is a woman dead in the street, because it's about the reality. But this point of view is the way to express that the child see in the reality. In this sense, the drawing sounds so simple, but they can express the point of view. This point of view, everything is so critical. If when we saw the different workshop each years, we can understand the history too. For example, dictatorship. This is one event, but we can understand the different events. For example, flood, earthquake, or the other things. The history is part of the children at the workshop of the Alicia Vega. The history is in the drawing of Chile.
ありがとうございます。活動との情報の共有とかどうしてる
Okay,
のか
so
サポート
in terms of, I think there was a question about sharing activities, but we're running out of time. So maybe you can refer your website, or and we can provide links to answer all of his questions. And I have Alicia some materials too. So anyway, the point is I'm going to send you some links so you can see all the activities that you want to see. So anything else?
はい、そこ邪魔だから。はい、そうです。
今日はたくさんの貴重なお話でありがとうございます。
So thank you so much for such valuable talks today. And at one time, I was involved in the film industry, and I was also involved in support for refugees and immigrants at one time. So I was very devastated to hear about the situation of children in other countries. Now, I have a basic question. Why do you conduct activities through filmmaking? Because there's so many other artistic activities, like, for example, painting a picture, uh, or maybe perform as an actor on stage. There's different ways of expression, but why did you choose filmmaking out of all the artistic activities that are out there?
に比べたその映画
And
の得意
so,
性という
compared to
か、そういっ
other
たものが何
artistic
かあ
activities,
れば
what's
教え
very
ていただきたいで
unique
す。
about filmmaking as well?
どうしましょうか。今回のですね、花さんの
So,
ご報告の中にもジョン・
I
バンド
think
の視覚
Hannah's
メディアイメージの紹介があり
presentation,
ましたけれど
he
も、
spoke
いろい
about
ろ皆
visuals
さん
and
の
images.
中でなぜ映画を描かれ
And
たのかという
so, do you think you can answer the question of why you've chosen filmmaking? Or maybe Doi-san? Oh, okay.
私たちは映画から始ま
Well,
っているので、
because
他のチョイスというの
we
が
have no
ほ
other
とんどそも
choice,
そもな
because
かったっていう
we
のがありま
originally
す。
started with
でもその中
films.
で、とにかくみんな映画が好きで始まっ
And
た
everybody
こ
loves
とでした。
films. And that's why we started with
だけど
films.
それで
Everybody
なん
that
で映画なのかってい
worked
うの
with
は
us.
その後延
Now,
々と話し合いました
we
ね。
did
シン
speak
ポジウムも
about
何回も
why
そ
it
の
should
中
be
で
a
なぜ映画
film.
なの
And,
かってい
we
うこ
spoke
と
about
が
that theme so
何回
many
もあり
times
ま
in
した。
different symposiums.
それの答えは須田さん
And
から言ってもらっていい
maybe
ですか。
Suwa-san can provide that answer.
ああ、そうですね。今日の、僕自身は
I
映画監督
am a film director, so
仕事としている。その時に
that's why
前提となるのは、
I
まず
am
表現し
involved
た
in
い
this.
こと
But
があ
anyway,
って、
there's
それ
something
を
I
音
wanted
楽
to
なのか、映
express.
画なのか、
So
小
whether
説
it's
なのか、それを
music
選
or
んで
novel
アウ
or
トプットしてい
film,
るわけではない。
it's not just doing your output on
自分
these
が
things.
表現したいことっていうのは、
So the
表
things
現
you
す
want to
る
express,
本人と一緒にあるんです。つまり
it's
映画をやるから
so
やりたいことが生まれてくるんです。
because you want to
なの
create
で、それを
film,
同じ
you
ことを
start
音
to
楽
get
でできるかっていう
ideas
と
for
で
a
きない。
film. Can you do the same with
作り
music?
手っていうのは
No,
そういうものです。ただ、我々は教育
because
実践として映
we
画をやっているの
are
で、
working
そ
on
れとして
filmmaking
なぜ映
as
画なん
an
だろうっていう、それを常
educational
にやっぱり
tool,
付きまとっているわけです。
and
例え
I
ば、グループ
understand
作
the
業、
question,
共同作
and
業って
also
言ったら
because
演劇でもいい。
because if
他
I
の
say
メディアでも
because
似たような
if
経験をい
filmmaking
くつかやってる
involves
わ
a
けです
group
け
of
れども、
people
映画っ
working
ていうのは
cooperative, but
特
then
性って
again,
何だろうかっていう
stage
それは多分
performances are also
いろん
like
な議
that
論
too.
がされる
So there's
と思
so
うんです
many
ね。
like discussions
僕
and
たちが
arguments
一つ意
for
識
this
している
question,
のは、
but we
表現の代替可能性っていう
say
言い
that
方をしていますけれ
the
ども、
possibilities of
簡
different
単に言うとですね、
expressions.
その人は一人しかいないということ
I
です。
mean, we want to say that
そ
this
の人のかけがえの
person
なさみたいなもの
is
を、表現
indispensable.
するメディ
There's
アに実は
no
準備
other
しているんですね。
person that can take the
で、
place
カ
of
メ
this
ラっていうの
person.
は、ある人を
And
映
then
す。
the
でも
camera
その時
is
に、今回
shooting
の
a
映像の中に
person.
も人の顔を映すっていうのがあるんで
And
すけれども、あの人を映している人たちは
and
交換することができない内
you
容を
cannot
そ
and
れを
you're
もうその
shooting this
人でな
person
けれ
because
ば
this
なら
person
ない。
is indispensable as well.
カメラって
There's
す
no
ごい特性
substitute
があ
for
っ
that
て、
person. And the
人間
camera
っていう
can
のは
do
映せ
that.
ない。
And so the camera does not
人
shoot
間っ
a
ていうのは概
person
念なの。
because a person is a
映画にできる
concept.
ことはこの人と撮るしかないわけです。
So to
この
create a
人なんです。
film, you
たった
have
一
to
本のこの人
shoot
なんです。
this
で、それ
one
は
single
何に
person.
も代え難いものなんです。
And this single
なんだ。
person is
子供たちが
indispensable.
一番楽しいのは
He's
自分たちが映ってるっていう
and the children, they get
それだけで
excited
みん
when
な
they
楽しい
see
んです。
themselves in the
それで笑
film,
ってるんです
that
けど、
and they all laugh and
そ
have
れ
a good
が
time.
この
But
人は他意
um,
にないっていう
but the
ことで、
point
こ
of
の
this
人
is
を
that
い
there
ろいろ
is
肯定
no
的に
other
見る。
person
そう
that
いう
would
世界がある
substitute
んじ
you.
ゃないかなっていう
So
気がし
I
ます。
think maybe that's one
さっき
reason why.
お話の
And
中で僕
also,
たち幸せに見えるねって
so
いう
I think you
ことを
mentioned
感
that
動的
the
だった。
children, they felt that they were
映画ってや
smiling
っ
in
ぱ
the
りです
pictures,
ね、
and that was a very
分か
moving
る親がい
episode.
るん
But
です。
um,
映画を作るっていう
so
ことは自分のや
creating
り方で自分の
a
人生を作るっていう
film
ことなんです。
means that you're
だから
creating
自
your
分のため
own
に
life.
やること
It's
ですね。
for
で、その
yourself.
映画を見たときに、
And
そ
when
こ
you
に映っ
see
てるの
that
は自分じゃないんです
film,
が、
it's not you
何百人
anymore in the
自分を映っ
film.
てないわけですから、そこに自分を見出すんです。あ、これ
You're
俺だ、
looking for
私だっ
yourself.
ていうふうに
You're
見出
thinking,
す可
oh,
能
this
性
is,
が、それこそたま
in
には出てく
films,
るんです。
you might identify
まあ
with
そ
the
れが映画
character
の
and
一
say,
つ
oh,
の
this
基
is
本なん
me.
で、
So it's kind of like
自
that. that. So So it's not just a cooperative exercise or cooperative activity. It's not just about that, I think. It's just something that's so precious. And it's a media, filmmaking is a media that you can, accept people. Okay, thank you. One more question then. Thank you so much for a wonderful symposium today. And Suwa-san, I well, I was involved at one time in the 80s to the 90s on movies that featured Palestinian. And my keyword back then was memory. So Michelle Rainfree's movie, Memory, I was influenced by that movie, by that film. And so Hana-san, I think, you mentioned memory too in your presentation. Oh, no, sorry, you didn't mention memory, sorry. And, and you said that the children, um, they experience so many things, and then you said that you mentioned right of children, and you would have the children show their family members what they're doing, and so so I think that I really thought that there was a lot being said from your presentation, and I was very moved. Now, one is Palestine's before October 7th. So this is a place where that it's not a home, it's not a school. The children are able to express themselves. It's a social space that it's safe, that you're providing this safe place for them, and so I just want to know what happened before October 7th, and then now that's being destructed now. So I just want to hear a little bit more on that, because I worked on films featuring Palestinians, and I'm sure that there's a lot of political pressure out there. And Laya-san, I thought you mentioned the memory, and that was very impressive for me. And and in the Gambia, the old woman and labor food, um, that was the Barcelona, the church. I saw the church in Barcelona scenes, and Chile and Spain. They have been traumatized in the 20th century, and so that's why the memory. How do you try and try and like improve the memory of people, like and
So collective memory, rights of collective memory, and child's expressions rights. So Hana-san, what is your point of view on how to protect or secure the rights of children? So both of the questions you're asking Hana-san? Yes, Hana-san, please. So since October 7th, how do you retrieve the memory, and how do you transcend the memory to the next generations? Palestinian movies in the 80s, the information there, that's memory. That was about the first. How does that connect to the rights of the children today? And how do those link to what you do in your activities? So the memory, children's right, and your activities. I want to understand the relationship. So it's one question.
If I understand it well, so it's the our kids, like really we have this kind of heritage that always we hear like grandfather, mother's stories, especially the refugee. And in each Palestinian home, there is this kind of icon, like the key and handala. I don't know if everybody knows this terminology, but this is the Palestinian really icon. So in a way now, when we want to transfer this to stories and to film, already they have a little bit of background from they hear. And all of us, I doubt there is a Palestinian kid, they don't have this kind of how the grandfathers, mothers transfer or displacement from their villages. And even like now, if we want to talk about what's the difference between 48 and now, we can say only the time, the technology, and all of us know, and as you explain, why we make films and the power of film and cinema and image. So this generation, when this all those social media and with all this technology, really they have mindset a little bit different than maybe my generation. So the issue is that sometimes they can collect footage, sometimes they go to document with old people, sometimes they are really work from their imagination, because there is a lot of I don't want to call exercise, but some ideas they come with, like if 48 doesn't happen, you know, how we will live now. Like, let's imagine Palestine without occupation. So it's more and more coming from hope, from heritage, from storytelling, like oral storytelling. And of course, we show them Palestinian films like Michel Khlefi films and different films as a Palestinian film. We screen to them where they have more knowledge about history, about what's happened, about etc. etc. So, and this is part of our collective memory, and this is part of to keep the narrative alive. So this is how we do it.
よろしいでしょうか。
Maybe later, but
大丈夫、大丈夫。
I don't know,
Make
because
a comment.
it's a really big question. And so just to give you the context of Spain, we had a civil war between 1936 to 1939, and then we had a dictatorship between 39 to 75. So it's real recent. But what is very sad is that in Spain, a lot of people, I don't know, people like as the same age of me, and after that, so young people knows really very, very, very few things about that. They maybe know that there was a dictatorship, but it's like an abstract thing. Like we haven't really worked in the schools about that, and for sure it's important. And then, as it happens in a lot of dictatorships, people that has lived the dictatorship or the war, it's really like in silence about it. They don't talk about it. It's very difficult to listen, to hear someone that wants to explain this situation, what is normal for sure. So that's a big question, how to do it. But to say briefly, one point is that we work like from the bonds. So for us, it's very important to establish like a true bond between young people and early people. So to have a common space, to eat together, to pass time talking about things that maybe are not so important. And then so often it happens it's like a magical moment when elderly people realize that they have the opportunity to give their memories to these young people. And we don't do nothing at all. We create the space, and in a moment, I don't know how it happens, these elderly people realize that. And in this moment, they open and they explain. And in the same moment, the young people, it's moved. It's incredible. It's like, and you never know which day it will happen. You can't control this. So you have to, what to say, you have to give time to this and to wait, and it happens. And for us, what is very important about that is that for sure there is a transmission of this memory in a way in a very living way. You are not reading this in a book like an abstract thing, but there is someone that is explaining to you, and really to you, not to all the people, but to you, that is explaining this experience. It's really strong. And so that's the first point. And the other one is, and here we have an important role to explain these young people that now they know this, and there are other people that doesn't know, and they have the responsibility to share this, to explain this. It's like a real responsibility. It's not, you have received this, so you have to give.
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございました。まだまだちょっといろいろ。
Of course, we have still a lot of questions that we want to ask, but sadly, the end time is approaching. So we will close the discussion session here. Everyone, Sebastián, Hannah, Laia, and Sebastián, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being with us for many hours. And now we would like to have the director of the National Archive of Japan to give us closing comments. My name is Okajima. I'm the director. And I really want to thank you for this great symposium today. Film education for kids is the continuous theme from last year. And I was so impressed and inspired today by all the sessions and the presentations. Our discussions that happened today, I think will definitely influence your activities in film and whatever activities that you conduct. Sebastián, Hannah, Laia, Etsuko-san, Mika-san, and Nobuhiro-san. Maybe it was not the polite way to call it, but thank you so much for your great work today. To close this symposium, I would like to quote the words from Wim Wenders. This National Archive is part of the International Federation of Film Archives. So archiving films is our biggest mission, and non-profit screening is our mission. And it's called FIAF, F-I-A-F. FIAF has annual influential awards to the film people. Martin Scorsese, Kyoko Kagawa, Ho Xiaoshen, Carlos Santos have been the laureates of the awards, and offering many opportunities to screen films is what we uphold as our philosophy. Budapest, Wim Wenders is the awardee for this year. And at the acceptance speech, he made great comments, amazing comments that I was so moved. You can find what he said online, especially what he said, I want to quote here to close the symposium. And then we also understood that preserving films would be a hopeless and useless effort if there were no future audiences for the history of cinema. We all carry another social responsibility. In addition to film preservation, our main task for the future of cinema. It is the social responsibility and it is the film education in schools. His school, Vendor School. Our foundation, therefore, also dedicates some of its efforts to film education. I know that you, the film archive of part of the TIFF network, already play a vital and exemplary role in this important matter. But we need to gather all forces possible for this most crucial element in protecting the language and the art of film. This is a quote of Wim Wenders' comments. I think this resonates with you. Thank you for sharing this, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we conclude the whole program, this symposium, the world's children waiting for cinema, film education, social issues. Thank you very much for today.